Hey, I'm Colin,
And I'm Chris.
and this is episode 9 of You Enjoy Ourselves.
Right on. Welcome, everybody. It is Colin's turn to present. He's got his magical background, so I have no idea what's in store, but I'm intrigued. Take it from here.
All right, a little hint for you, and I might have told you this before, but this musician and band is probably my favorite group in the kind of eclectic jam band scene that's outside of the fish world. And I don't know if that's enough, but he doesn't play a traditional jam band instrument. Any guess?
Oh, I can't
He
remember.
also uses his fingers like Derek Trucks, but not in the same way, not with the slide.
Let me see here. Shoot, I don't, I don't know. Who is it?
All right, let's get rid of this purple background. We got Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
That's right. Oh, cool.
Debut album, the Bela Fleck, I think it was self-titled, but this track, The Sinister Minister, oh, it's just so cool. And the main lesson I want to go over, just real simple stuff in the bass, the banjo, and then the harmonica, harp, who plays the head. The magic of sequences, which we talked about a little bit, I think, in the first episode with Yamar, like some of the licks that Trey had, like we pointed out a sequence. And, we might have several episodes of sequences because, like, I think they're really important. They're really just great musical devices. If you think about the most iconic sequence of all time and in the history of music, it is classical. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 Beethoven's fifths, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the idea of a sequence. And here's a little definition. If anybody needs a refresher, doesn't know what a sequence is, it's a musical motif, like a musical idea. That can be harmonic, it can be melodic, rhythmic, it can be all three at once. And then it's repeated at a higher pitch or a lower pitch. That's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's just listen to the and this is going to be from the what do you call it? Like the album version, excuse me. And let me adjust our camera stuff here because we're going to want us to be all big like that. Then we'll go over there. Hopefully that is what we want to see. Should be big enough. Okay, let's just listen for a little while. It's not like I'm going to go over the three different parts: bass, banjo, and harp, and just try to point out the sequences that are in there. And I should note there's at the school I'm attending to finish my degree. There's a group. I'm not in it, but there's the guitar ensemble group, and I take private lessons with the instructor who leads it or whatever. And he told me he was floating this idea. I was like, oh man, I would love to arrange it for the group, and he let me do it as part of my thing. So I got to arrange, Victor Wooten's bass guitar on a drop D, classical guitar, and the harmonica on a lead, and so that's kind of the different parts you'll see on a preview here. Will be like a drop D guitar doing the bass and the harp playing the head, etc., and the banjo part on the guitar. So this is kind of a video on playing other instruments' parts on the guitar and maybe what you can glean from that type of thing. All right, without further ado,
Very
let's
cool.
just listen up through the head. It might be a minute or so, but we're not like diving into All right, here we go. Here's the melody. All right, that's about it. little interlude thing. There's some sequences in this too, but that's all I want to do about the first minute or so in. So let's jump into
Cool.
the different parts. Anything you hear that's jumping out to you of?
Oh yeah, I haven't heard this in a minute. Really cool. Yeah, you know what? I was just kind of listening to the bass, trying to figure out what I thought they were doing, or Victor Wooten was doing, and then I really like the syncopation between like there's parts where they lock in, and then Bela will kind of like stick out with a little syncopated strum or whatever. And then that weird time thing at the halfway point of
Yeah,
the
that is
was
worth
interesting.
talking about, and I'll mention that because it's yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, now is that an odd meter, or is that like the is that keeping it four but being clever with the timing so it feels odd? And I wasn't sure. Anyway, no, I love this, and it feels like there's a little bluesy minor blues scale kind of action
Mhm.
going on. Anyway,
Yeah.
really really cool.
I mean, you're the latter choice for the rhythmic thing with that. Like, oh, is it an odd time? Without like getting into it, I've always heard it and just assumed like, oh, it's Bela Fleck. They're masters of crazy bebop and jazz and classical and jam band funk. It must be like 7/8 or 13/6 or 13/8 or something crazy. It's just four, and it's just clever, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's so
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
When I
So
transcribed, it was like, oh, come on! I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that, but
it's
uh,
is it kind of like it ends on an and then starts on like a two or something funny like that or
I think there's just space. Yeah, there's a rest on 3 or 4. I forget which beat,
yeah
but it feels like wait a minute because they stopped
yeah.
and then they start again on the and of 4, the of 4, or something like that. I don't
Oh
have
cool.
that language memorized, but
I almost
um,
like I think that's like you know what's really cool about time stuff is like if you can take an odd meter and make that feel kind of natural, kind of like money, or if
oh,
you can take
like make a 7 into a 4, like
well
feel.
make well what I mean is make a seven feel like okay like that's a massive hit, but most like most people that aren't like musicians, let's say, maybe don't even have any idea at all that there's anything strange about that meter that they're using because it feels so natural. That's my point. Whereas
Yep.
like or like taking like this example where it's 4/4, the most common meter, but it feels like whoa, like you feel like you're on the edge of a cliff or something right there, just because the tension
Yep.
with the space and the syncopation or whatever they're using there. So cool, man, good choice.
Yeah, and we should probably be able to see it too in one of the parts. But let's look at the
Yeah.
bass line first. Like I said, I'm in drop D for the guitarist that will be playing the bass
Cool.
in the guitar ensemble.
Drop
Um,
D. Okay, cool.
yeah, I know. Well, the song's in D minor,
Yep.
and let's go to preview here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's probably just with 7 or I think it's 8 guitarists all playing. I think like 6 or 7 of them are playing nylon string classical guitars.
Cool.
Probably 3 or 4 cats will do the bass, or maybe 2 or 3 will do the bass. It's the best option when you're arranging for a group like that to do, that drop D as opposed to trying to play something up an octave just to give them the bass part. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we've got. I'll play the part here, and I'll do my my best. Victor Wooten impression. Here, let me switch my guitar camera.
Good luck. Yeah.
Let me fix this. This is being a little bit smaller than I hoped. There we go. There we go. All right, you can see that okay?
Yep.
And you can see the screen share too, right? So we got. So that's just that top line there, right? And Victor doesn't quite play these octaves, so I took some liberties of the arrangement, kind of putting those octaves up on the D string to get it a little more. Because he might just do like maybe slapping on just the. He's probably on the 5th string actually. He's not in drop D. He's probably on a 5th string bass, 5 string bass.
That guitar sounds awesome, and your playing is awesome.
Nice. No,
Do that
thanks.
again. Do that again for everybody. That was awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Nice clean tone and a little bit of reverb. That's all you need. Drop the
Oh, that sounds good.
newish strings. I put them on last week. That's essential, man. If anybody ever sleeps on putting on new strings, which I'm guilty of doing sometimes, just because of like the time it takes to put them on, which is about half an hour, but like, man, it's worth it to be on a schedule. Okay, so sequence wise, what do we see here? We've got a D. Let me write on this stuff. We're in D minor. So one of the most common sequences is diatonic interval jumps of thirds, right? Oh gosh, boy, are those ledger lines low. Let's just talk the notes from the tab. D to F, and that's an F there, because remember, these are mirrored on the D string, right, to the D string. So that we have a 1 to a 3, and then it jumps back down to the E, and then that E jumps to a G, right? So we have a 1, 3, 2, 4 happening in the scale, right? 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6. That's the sequence right there. It's a very basic sequence. And it being, slap bass with the funky rhythm is just a beautiful combination. So that's the first beginning sequence I wanted to discuss. Yeah. Anything you want to add to that? It's pretty self-explanatory on the A section there.
Yeah.
And then let's see, that's kind of the intro. Then the A happens with that same bass line. And there is a second part to the A where he goes up. So. And then it's a similar sequence kind of there, going up to the D, down to what is that, a B there? That's an A, excuse me. C, B flat. I love that. They got that big E flat down there. Just, it's Phrygian, right? It's really just adding that, chromatic half step above the root, which makes it just kind of janky, just kind of like, whoa, what is that? Giving you a bit of a Phrygian vibe, I guess.
It's got a I don't want to call it sinister. What is it called? Sinister?
The Sinister Minister.
Oh, okay. So it's so funny because I've heard this many times, but I'm so bad with song titles. I was going to say that flat 2 gives you a sinister feel, especially when you have the. I feel like the blue note was in there, in the melody. Yeah, that's cool, man. That, it's funny how adding a little tone like that, and you're right, like you don't have to overcomplicate and go, oh, it's Phrygian or whatever. I know what you mean, because there's a flat 2, but you can go, I'm just
ish. I like let's put that as the subject. Yeah, the subject. Yeah.
Yeah, I by adding that one tone or those two tones, the tritone and then the flat 2, it does sound sinister. It's probably why they called it that. Really cool, man.
Yeah. And then I think that's probably all to cover for the bass. Again, I'm not trying to just show, how to play the bass line or anything like that. And this is my take on it with some octaves, and they go back to that. And then the head happens. So we're just going to move now to the banjo part and see what Bela does. And I really love Bela Fleck, man. He's just such a fun musician. So let's go. Maybe we should listen again to hear the banjo part.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's go here. Playing chords. Now the second half of the A. There was some weird stuff to transcribe in there. I'll go over that in a second. It's really great harmony. And then there's the head. Okay, so we had the bass intro. Let me go back to this camera here. There we go. Now, I was surprised that I could figure out, because there was this, while I talk, there was this sensation that I was going to have that, like, it's banjo. I'm not going to be able to play certain fingerings or certain, you know what I mean, like shapes, etc., that kind of thing. But I was very pleasantly surprised that I could transcribe some of these, or all of this stuff, and it be so, tangible on the guitar. So, all right, I'll switch back. Here we go. There we go. So we've got, again, our D minor triad. Going down to kind of looks like an A7, but we're just going to call that a C sharp fully diminished 7 because it's right below the D minor. Kind of invoking harmonic minor scale. Going up to the 2 chords, we got a 1, 7, 2. It's a diminished, right? Back to 1. There's our 2. Back to the 1. And I think that's a 3. It's actually at an F major in first inversion. So that'd be back to the 3 chord there. So sometimes he's playing. Let me do that again. We got 1, 7, 2, back to 1, but that time in first inversion with the F and the bass. And then to 3, so staying with the sequence. And then he just goes up to half step to the 4. And that 4 is a B flat major. So it's really not a 4, it's a 6 chord, right? Because the B flat major in the key of D minor would be the 6 chord. So he kind of breaks the sequence pattern there. And and then he just has like a descending lick there. So the sequence does break. But I want to show just like in a line, just kind of this sequence. Hello. The sequence action of, you see a D to an F, go down to an E, up to a G, back down to an F, up to an A. So it's like going up a third. Aw, go back. There we go. Up a third, down a step. Up a third, down a step. Up. That's kind of the definition or the visual representation of a sequence there. Really cool line. That up, and that was a hard one to hear. He switched it to a minor triad real quick. It was major up here, 8-7-6. That was kind of tricky to hear. Now he's up at D minor there, D minor in second inversion. So that's kind of a sequence. It doesn't necessarily have to be a different chord in the sequence. It's just a different inversion at a different spot in the neck. Chromatic. That is some of the coolest stuff that I think Bela is doing, where he has like a minor first inversion, and he'll just switch one note of it to that 6 there, and then it just becomes a 6 chord B flat major triad. So I'm going to go from around this 12 area. That's a really cool one. We get a nice little dominant diminished-y thing there.
Love that chord.
And then we have another one there. And this one's kind of acting like a tritone sub of like, because this was like a 5-7 of the A, so it was like an E7 kind of happening, even though it's we'll call it an E7. And then we have like we got a B flat, D flat, and an E flat all in a row, a minor third and then a whole step. But if you put that B flat up top, you can kind of see, it's just an E flat dominant with no third, and the root is up top. So if that's that, it's kind of acting like an A7 flat 9, which is the 5 of the 1 chord. But the way he plays it, that was a nightmare to hear. Just that whole step, like took a minute to hear that. Anyway, I'm not really talking about sequences. I'm more talking about his harmony just for a second because I think it's just so cool. Right there. Oh, sorry. Love that one right there. And then he gives it again. There's that E flat again, right? That same thing. And then we're going to move on to the head. And though he does play it in the head and Victor does or he does play the head in the banjo and Victor does play the head a bit in the bass, I also transcribed the harmonica, and I'm going to have myself play it on the mandolin. I'm going to play with the ensemble. I'm going to sit in, and I'm going to play the head on the mandolin, and one of the other guitarists is going to play this with some fun bends to try to mimic the harmonica here.
Cool. Yeah, really cool. Hey, on the previous section.
Oh, back to the banjo?
Yeah, if you could go back one point, I just wanted to, or one thing that jumped out to me that was really cool about that was the way that Bela creates the forward motion by putting the last note of each line basically on the and of four. Yeah. And it just keeps moving things forward in this really amazing way because if I'm remembering it correctly, I think Victor Wooten he's really strong on the downbeat, isn't he? Like on hitting on one.
All right, let's give a quick listen.
Yeah.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and Victor hit the downbeat. Oh, sorry about that. Repeat. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the rhythmic kind of weaving that those two are doing there, and obviously with the drums.
Yeah.
Is that Future Man or whatever?
Yeah, Future Man with this. I always screw up the order of it, but it's called a drum axe synthitar or a synthax drumitar. If anybody's not seen Bela Fleck or the Flecktones, Future Man, Victor Wooten's brother, plays this modded synth drum set thing with just buttons on it and destroys their music in a good way. Crushes. Right.
So yeah, man, that was that just jumped out to me how beautiful the interplay is between bass and banjo in terms of the it's just propelling it forward. So play with the and of four. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, and that's a really common thing in bebop to start your licks. And I think we talked about this before. Like start your licks on the beat 2 or the and of 1 or any of the weird the 16th notes if it's that slow enough tempo to be able to hear that. But and of 4 gives that really you've anticipated, and it's you said forward motion. That's that forward motion kind of feel.
Cool.
It's real push and pull kind of feeling. But that's a really good observation to notice that Victor's not joining him on that. That he's just
he's our anchor. Like so because like
probably with the kick drum too. Well, the
drum
or whatever.
But the thing is, when the harmonica was just about to come in, Victor saved that and a 4 for that one.
Right.
I remember it was like he's holding down the downbeat, and then when they go to do that part, everybody hits on the and of 4 together, and it's way more impactful than I think it would be if they all were doing that the whole time together.
In the build up to the head, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So it's kung kind of happening until wait for it. Because it's the head, it's the the forte of the song or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at the harmonica part. Let's give it another quick listen. And Listen to what you were just talking about. And sorry, how cool is it to hear everybody playing in unison, more or less? Yes, Bela's kind of playing some chords. Let me do that again. You know, like some chords, but he's really playing the head with mostly single notes. Victor is, as well as I think it was Jeff Coffin is the harmonica player. I know they had some different cats play that role on sax and harmonica, but yeah, to hear everybody play in unison in this kind of music, it's refreshing to me because there's a lot of like, you know, I know you like the grunge era coming up, and in the grunge era, like everything was unison, right? I mean, we had a lot of power chord stuff, but then when there was a lick, it was just, you know, bass and guitar playing the exact same thing, and not a lot of polyphony. You know, it was a lot of monophonic type of stuff, and then homophonic with the, you know, chords. But it's cool to hear this in this sense, because you know that they have all the harmony and polyphony, you know, at their whim as well. So I like pointing that out, to hear that they can play something in just straight, you know, unison, basically. All right, let's go to listening back to the melody here. Cool. It's never not cool. I love this song so much. All right, so here's the head. I play it with it took some liberties, put it to guitar because the harmonica has different kind of bend, you know, true portamento bend sounds than the guitar does or whatever. So we did some pre-bend. Sorry, let me change the camera here. And yep, I got to count in to that and a 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might have missed some of that. Also, I got to fix something. I'm noticing my GarageBand is needing some love. Hold on just a second, everybody.
Sounded good though. That was cool. Yeah, I think that it's while you're doing dialing that in, it's a really great exercise to take something that's played on a different instrument and then put it to the guitar. Similarly, what I like to do is take Stevie Wonder harmonica solos and try to play them on the guitar because they're so good. And the phrasing, because of all the breathing they have to do, is naturally. I don't want to say it's better than a guitar, but because of that breath that they have to take, it's more patient usually, and it has more interesting phrasing. And so, harmonica is a really cool instrument to steal from.
Yeah, this is my first experience ever really doing that to my knowledge. Never looked at any Dylan, who I love, any Dylan harmonica, never looked at any John Popper harmonica and transcribed it or anything like that. All right, let's look at the head and see if we can see the sequence in here. We're up at an A, and yeah, we get a little bit of a. It was kind of a pain to transcribe a pre-bend and then a slow release down, 2 half steps. That was kind of a fun adventure on Sibelius. So that's very much a sequence. You can see this action fall, go up a step from that A to this B. Is it a B flat? Yeah, B flat. It's notated in the key signature. I'm like, where's my B flat? Die, dee, dee, do. And that same kind of stepwise motion. So there's the very simple sequence there. And sequences don't have to go on forever, right? They can just be a uh, a motif and then a motif repeated. And hey, that's their head. Like that's the whole, magic of this specific head. And there's more of a little bit of a sequence at the kind of the cadence of the phrase. Right here. Buddha, Buddha, da da da. Down a step. It's kind of like half whole diminished scale or something like that. So that's another sequence you can see there. Da 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 da. Down a step. Da 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 da. Another sequence. So the whole song is just chock full of these sequences, types of things. And there's one more that I forgot to put in, and you'll hear it. I'm going to play it on the mandolin, but it's what, we can listen to it, but I didn't transcribe it out because I'm doing all the mandolin parts by ear. That Victor plays at the end of his bass solo. And we'll just listen to it real quick. But yeah, let's talk about that rhythm, right, of the end of that head. So da 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 da, ba da da do, da 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 do, 4, 1 and 2, 3. So it's really like off on 2, right? That could be a quarter note or a dot or an eighth note short. Da 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 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's that counting that you have to do, almost the way that in Fish, where what am I thinking of? Where people have to count.
Mound. Is that what you're talking?
I think it was in Stash, maybe with the claps. I might be off on that too. But
I thought you meant like the hand claps in the beginning of Mound.
Yeah, that's a nightmare too.
Yeah.
Well, just where there's like that same principle that you described that is happening here, where it feels it's because we get a pause, da 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 da, and that pause is on 2, 3, 4, and we don't get the hit again till the end of 4. So it almost feels like, hey, that's a weird shape. I guess I thought it was prettier than my circle, so it went with the cauliflower look. But yeah, for some reason, it just makes us, as musicians who know about time, odd time signatures, kind of like go to that in our minds for some reason. But nope, it's just 4, 4, and 3, 4, out at the do, by did the do, but did the do, and then we have this A section. And there's a couple of sequence things in there. So I'm gonna go back. Anything else you want to talk about, or
Shoot.
from the harp section?
No, I think you're hitting it. I mean that it's you can see right there how they're using that little motif. You do a little bit of movement, and I think like is the third one the same as the first one?
It is.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
This
So
is the exact same. Yeah, and just repeat good ideas, people. Like there's
yeah, repeat good ideas. That's something
Yeah.
like. Of course, I always want to bring it to Trey that you'll like Trey will lock into a cool thing, and then like he'll milk that thing sometimes, a bunch of times. And
The audience something to
so
latch on to, something familiar. So it's
yeah. Yeah, no, I think I don't have much to add to what
cool.
you did there. It's really well, one little thing I love the ending of it has that classic little blues that
Yeah.
little thing. That yeah, it's a great
That pulls the whole thing together, almost as like this like microcosm of like the abilities of the band to be like, we know our roots, like we know that blues is an American tradition and jazz, and to play the blues note with this kind of complicated I hear elements of all those styles, classical, funk, with the slap bass, with the the drum accent, syntax, drum guitar, whatever it's called. The banjo playing not bluegrass. To me, that's one of the funnest things about Bela Fleck and the Fleck tones.
yeah.
And these sequences, which sound very, Bach-like, or
Yeah,
that just
yeah.
sounds very kind of classical based to me, almost like
I
an
agree.
exercise. Okay, I think that's it for the various parts. One last thing, because I just remembered it. I think it's worth pointing out in the listen to this whole song. There's a cool Mountain Jam live version of this as well. Let's find the bass. And he goes off. Sequence. Again. Ah, it's so cool. It's so classical sounding, right? One. There's a measure of 3/4 at the end there. Anyway, just wanted to point that one out. So,
Yeah, really cool.
yeah. Anything else there? Yeah. So yeah, like we talked about sequences before in a previous episode. I don't think they'll be done. I just think they're so important. Like they're just one of the um, most important and useful like compositional techniques across any genre, all genres, really. And like we've said before, improvisation is composition on the spot. So use sequences if you're taking solos. I know this channel or this series is very geared towards like, Trey guitar solos, and he's got sequences galore in that. So in your solos, it's cool to, use some kind of idea. And then break it. It's always fun to break a sequence so you don't sound like you're just doing the same thing. It just sounds more, I don't know, interesting. But yep,
Yeah.
that's my Bela Fleck sequence lesson. Do something different from Trey. I wanted to match the wonderful Derek Trucks video that we put out last time. That was really fun.
That was fun. Yeah, really cool, man. Love that. I did not see that coming. I guess I forgot you mentioned that you love Bela Fleck, and that again, really cool to take a different instrument and arrange it for guitar. I think that in and of itself is amazing. And you're right. Like there's so many different ways to do sequences, and I think it like to not come back to that would be like doing one pentatonic based thing and going, yeah, that's it.
Right. Yeah. That's a really good analogy of like, we play the crap out of the pentatonic scale as soloists, right? But we don't, and as educators or content creators or whatever, we don't only make one video on the pentatonic scale, right? That'd be silly.
I think this was well worth coming back to in terms of a topic, because I can't quite remember what. Oh, you said it was Yamar. Oh, yeah, it's way different than Yamar. Like in terms of how it comes across, but it's using the same technique. So, well worth doing that. Coming back to that. So, no, man, really, really cool. I was pleasantly surprised, and I forgot this tune. I haven't heard it in a long time. I'm not as familiar with the band in general, and so this is one of the tunes that I do remember hearing way back in the day. And
they're so varied too, man. Like I said, he's got this great bluegrass. So, he's played with Yo-Yo Ma and done amazing Bach fugue stuff or whatever, and sonatas, and he's played just with everybody. But then he did this great tour with his wife, and they did. I don't know. You ever see that documentary he put out? What's it called? He goes to Africa because the banjo is an African instrument, and he talks about the origin of the banjo, and goes to all these different communities. It's a really cool documentary, and he goes to these different African communities and plays with them, and they teach him about different instruments. Something about heart. I'm gonna butcher it if I try to pronounce it, but highly recommend it. It's a really good watch. Really cool documentary. But yeah, the bluegrass elements. There's one other album I'm gonna recommend because I love Bale's stuff so much. It's called Uncommon Ritual, and when I first started in college in the early 2000s, one of my good friends gave me this record, and it was Bela Fleck, Mike Marshall playing mandolin and like mandocello and some different instruments, and Edgar Meyer on the bass. And it's the three of them, and it's all acoustic American original folk instruments that they use, but they jump like they genre hop like crazy, and it's just one of the most interesting and peaceful and soothing records on a drive, just on a chill day. But it seems like they'll jump from like a reggae groove with these acoustic instruments into like, they'll do. I think they do Big Country, which is a kind of a famous. I don't know if it's a traditional or it's a Bela bluegrass tune. They'll do that, and they'll do some some classical stuff, and then some funky stuff, and it's Uncommon Ritual. It's one of my favorite records of all time. So I just wanted to put
Very
that out there
cool.
to the world and share it. But anyway, thank everybody. Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, take care.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. See you soon.